This is Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector News Podcast. And joining me, I have Ed Thorose, the president of Honey Badger Silver. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you, Mike. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We've been trying to get this online, but between hurricanes and travel, it's been a little longer than what we anticipated. But you guys have a whole raft of news and updates that we could share with people. But starting off, let's, for those that don't know about Honey Badger Silver, let's give them the 30,000 foot view of what the company is.
Sure. So I think the first thing we have to emphasize is that Honey Badger is not your typical exploration company. You can think of us as a silver aggregation vehicle. We're an aggregator of silver assets, and it's almost like an ETF or sort of a financial instrument, if you will, is the analogy we use. Our objective is to acquire silver assets and to be maximally leveraged to silver prices. So our thesis is that silver prices over time should move higher. And when that happens, we want to have maximum leverage to that event. And that's sort of the objective of Honey Badger.
So someone investing in Honey Badger is essentially using you as a vehicle to invest in the silver price.
Yes, and the idea is both to have exposure to the silver price, but at the same time to acquire assets which have incredible geological merit. So to have leverage to geological upside as well. So a combination of both things. I mean, if you just want pure exposure to silver, you can buy silver, but you get added torque with, we believe, with the portfolio of assets we are acquiring. And the strategy is, you know, the view right now for us is that given where markets are, now's the time to be in acquisition mode. When markets improve, or you know, at that time in the future, it's at that point where we'll possibly deploy capital to more in terms of exploration and drilling and adding value to these properties with the drill bit.
Yes, I understand. Now, you have properties up in the Yukon that you did actually do a little bit of drilling on this summer.
We did surface work. We did not do drilling in the Yukon, and that was on our Groundhog property. It's one of 3 properties which we acquired from Strategic Metals last year. And so it was a fairly modest program designed to do structural mapping and understanding some of the structural controls on the property. We expanded some of the soil geochemistry that had been done in the past to give a bit of context as to in what sort of setting the various targets on the property reside and where we might find other additional targets to follow up on.
Wonderful. And when the market environment improves, that's when you're going to follow up on those targets, correct?
That's right, yes. We don't think now's the time to be drilling or spending a lot of money doing exploration work, simply because we're in a market that doesn't reward that type of results as much as it should, if you will.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, you're in a pretty good neighborhood up there in the Yukon. Some of your neighbors have been drilling and doing some exploration work with some good results.
That's right. Our Plata property is about 30 kilometers west of Snowline's recent Rogue discovery, and it sits within the Selvin Basin, and it's the same sort of sedimentary rocks. And I guess the important point to make is that both properties share the same intrusive unit. It's referred to as the Rogue stock, which has driven the hydrothermal activity and intrusive activity in these areas. That said, their system is a gold system, and they have made a substantial gold discovery, whereas our Plata property is more of a silver system and has more similarities to the Keno Hill Silver District, also in the Yukon. which has produced 200 million ounces of silver historically. But yeah, it's the same general environment and the same system driving the hydrothermal events behind these systems.
Well, we'll move from the north to way down south. In your acquisition mode, you've acquired an interesting property down in Chile.
Yes, we've announced acquisition of the Cachinal silver deposit in June, and we're just in the process of closing that acquisition. It's a low sulfidation epithermal deposit. It's got about 18 million ounces of silver in NI 43-101 resources. And I think the important point to make with Cachinal is that it's in close proximity to an existing gold mine, referred to as Guanaco, within trucking distance of that mine. Their mill is underfed, requires ore, and we have been in touch with the people at Gold who run this mine. It's still early days, but we may come to an arrangement whereby ore from Cachinal is delivered to their plant. I think the point to make is that it's it could potentially be a low capex project which could be brought to production fairly soon and generate cash flows.
Oh, that's exciting news. Anytime we have near production, that's always great. Why did the company choose Chile as a jurisdiction to go to?
Well, the geological merits of Chile, of course, are well known, and it's obviously very prospective for copper, but for silver and gold as well. And we have relationships in Chile. We know lots of people that work there, and so have access to deal flow in Chile. So opportunities present themselves. And we also think we do have a contrarian mindset. In the recent past, there have been political changes in Chile, and there's been a sort of a left-leaning government that's come into power, which has scared people away from Chile. But we have met with the president, and we have sort of a feeling for the country, and our belief is that Chile will remain a mining-friendly jurisdiction in the future. They recently had a referendum in Chile, which rejected some of the more sort of business unfriendly sort of aspects of this new constitution they want to pass. And overall, we do think Chile remains a favorable place to invest in. Yeah, we're taking the long-term view on the political risk in Chile, and do think it's a place to stay in.
So you're looking at other opportunities there?
We are, yes, we are looking at opportunities in Chile and other parts of South America as well, and in the US as well. And we have lots of things that are sort of, on various stages of due diligence in that part of the world.
So as we move forward, we're likely to hear more about acquisitions by Honey Badger.
I think that's safe to say, yes. We are in M&A mode, and so I do expect that over the coming weeks and months, you could expect to hear more news flow of that nature.
Well, these are definitely exciting times when one can buy all these assets so cheaply and on sale, aren't they? It's like a kid in a candy store. You don't know which aisle to go down.
We do think it's a buyer's market, and that now is the time to be acquiring. And I think the other thing to stress is that given the people that are involved with Honey Badger, we do have excellent access to deal flow. The company is basically the vision behind Honey Badger is Chad Williams's sort of idea. And Chad is the founder of Red Cloud Securities, which is a boutique investment bank that is grown in terms of its importance in the Canadian mining space over the last few years. It's raised billions of dollars for mining projects over the last few years. And so given the Chad and the other directors we have in the company, we do have access to very good deal flow.
It's good to have access to capital, because that can always slow down a company when through that early growth stage. So wonderful. We've got lots to look forward to as the year end approaches and we come into 2023. Hopefully there will be better silver prices ahead, so everybody grows. And it's been a pleasure talking to you, Ed. Honey Badger Silver is a paid sponsor of the Prospector News. The host owns shares in Honey Badger Silver bought at the market for investment purposes. The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.